Okay, imagine this. Someone offers you 800 pounds for your unwashed hair. Not just any hair, no. We're talking braids you've worn for almost 2 months, specifically because they want, well, the scent. Sounds pretty wild, right? Almost unbelievable. Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into exactly that, our mission, to unpack this really unusual but apparently quite profitable little corner of what some people call the bizarre niche fetish economy. We want to see if we can pull out some real business insights from how these unique ventures actually generate cash, and we'll do it through a pretty fascinating story. Our source material today is all about Leticia Jones, a young woman who went viral back in early July 2025 for doing exactly this, selling her braids.
Yeah, and it's totally natural to kind of raise an eyebrow at first. Honestly, that's part of what makes it so interesting to look at. But the really fascinating thing here isn't just the product itself. It's that even though it sounds so unconventional, this niche exists. There's money moving around in it, and the principles behind why it works, they're actually much more universal than you might think. We're really talking about a legitimate income idea here, and it's worth trying to understand, weird as it sounds.
Okay, let's get into Leticia Jones's story then. So she literally sells her braids straight off her head, and the price you said around 800 pounds each. That's quite something.
It is. And the source material mentions her main buyer, apparently someone in Norway, pays specifically for the scent of the unwashed hair. And that's after she's worn the braids for about 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks, it's definitely unique.
It really is. But what's fascinating is how this, let's call it weirdness, actually functions as a business model, especially when you look at it through the lens of the first principle, low competition, high curiosity.
Okay, low competition, high curiosity. How does that play out?
Well, think about it. It's not just that the product itself is scarce. Unwashed braids, sure.
Right.
But it's also the scarcity of someone willing to offer it. Not many people are lining up to do this.
Right.
So that combination, niche demand meeting, very limited, maybe even taboo, supply, it creates this incredibly strong market position. You basically sidestep all the usual competition from the get-go. It creates a kind of rare, high-value market.
Okay, so scarcity covers the why it's valuable part. What about actually doing it, the operational side? It sounds incredibly simple for Leticia. How does this fit the whole micro-business startup idea?
Oh, it's remarkably simple. That's another key point. She doesn't need inventory stashed somewhere, no complicated logistics, no fancy website or tech.
So what's the process?
It's about as basic as it gets. Clients pay her, she ships the braids, that's it. It really is a classic side hustle blueprint,
Yeah.
one people often miss because, well, the product itself seems so out there.
Yeah.
But if you just look at the mechanics, low cost to start, very low hassle to run, and potentially, as we see here, extraordinary profit margins.
Extraordinary is right.
Yeah, the lesson is that value isn't always found in the obvious places. Sometimes it's in the unexpected.
And if that's that simple, but also that specific, how does she even find people who want this? I mean, you're not putting an ad in the local paper for this, are you?
Exactly right. Traditional advertising is obviously out. This is where viral marketing and social proof become absolutely crucial. Leticia used platforms like TikTok really effectively. She made content about her hustle.
Talking about selling your hair.
Yeah, talking about the process, the interest, maybe not every detail, but enough. And it got traction over 100,000 views, according to the source. For these kinds of micro-entrepreneurs, telling your story is your marketing. Storytelling becomes a form of currency. Audiences, especially online, respond to authenticity, particularly when you pair it with being transparent, making it clear, it's safe, it's consensual. That builds trust and sparks interest in something that, yeah, might otherwise just be dismissed as weird. It's about being real, even if your business is, well, unreal.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so the business model is fascinating. The marketing relies on authenticity, but we absolutely have to touch on the other side of this, the ethical and safety considerations. I mean, we're talking about selling something very personal, even biological material. What are the big flags there?
You're right, that's critical. And you absolutely have to address it. When you're dealing with selling personal items like this, especially things from the body, there are real health and legal things to think about. You can't just ignore them.
Like what specifically?
Well, consent is number one. Absolute must. Hygiene practices are non-negotiable for both seller and buyer safety. Transparency about what's being sold. And crucially, you absolutely must check local laws and regulations. Shipping human materials, even hair, can have rules depending on where you are and where you're sending it.
Right, you don't want legal trouble on top of everything else.
Exactly. Safety has to be paramount. It underlines that even in these really unconventional businesses, you still need to do your homework and operate responsibly.
So, moving beyond just Letitia's braids for a moment, if we zoom out, how can these principles, scarcity, simplicity, storytelling, apply elsewhere? The source material apparently suggested some ways to build on this weird niche idea, right? To show it's not just about hair.
Absolutely. It's about the underlying method. For example, you could take the hair idea but pivot. Maybe offer sanitized collectible strands of unique hair for, say, film props or costume design. Totally different market. Same starting point.
Okay, so sanitize makes it less personal.
Right. Or you could sell novelty hair bundles, maybe brightly dyed or unusually textured to artists or craftspeople. Or shift focus entirely. You could teach other creators how to launch their own bizarre micro-sales ventures, maybe focusing on TikTok marketing tips, like Leticia used.
Like a med business.
Sort of. Or even start a podcast, maybe an oddity marketplace show, just discussing the economics behind weird products people sell. The point is, you take the principles finding a niche, simple operations, authentic storytelling, and apply them to other interests that might seem strange at first glance.
Okay, so let's try and boil this down for the listener. What are the big takeaways here? Whether you're maybe thinking about a side hustle or just curious about how these strange corners of the economy work, what have we learned? First one seems obvious. There's money in weirdness. Maybe.
There definitely can be.
People will pay for rare things, maybe even taboo things, and social media gives you this incredible direct line to find those very specific niche audiences. But is it just about being weird, or does it have to be, like you said, authentic? Can you just manufacture weirdness?
Probably not effectively. I think authenticity is key. People can often tell when something feels forced or contrived, especially in these niche spaces. It has to resonate somehow.
Okay, authentic weirdness. Got it. Second takeaway, start with what you have available. Leticia used her hair. It didn't require a business degree or a load of startup cash. It leverages something unique to you or your situation.
Exactly. Low barrier to entry.
Third, brand the quirk. That unique story you have, that's your pitch.
Yep.
Use TikTok, use Instagram, maybe even a simple newsletter, whatever fits, but tell that story authentically.
Make the story work for you.
And fourth, and maybe the most important, be safe and smart. Always.
Absolutely critical.
Understand the legal stuff in your area. Use disclaimers if you need to. Figure out secure shipping. Keep hygiene standards high. It's still a business.
It is. Yeah. Treat it professionally, even if product is unconventional. You know, the hair smell niche, as unusual as it seems, it really highlights a powerful lesson. Monetizing these sort of unusual human interests, it can be surprisingly profitable. And success often comes from that mix. Creativity, genuine authenticity, and using that direct online access to connect with the right audience. It's not about following the crowd. It's about finding where your unique thing meets a specific, maybe overlooked demand.
Absolutely. And, in a world where a lot of the traditional side hustles, dropshipping, blogging, whatever, are getting super crowded, these kinds of bizarre niches, they might actually be really fertile ground, less competition, like you said.
Potentially, yeah, if approached correctly.
So here's something to maybe mull over as you go about your day. Think about it. What unusual interests or maybe even weird quirks do you have, or things you know a lot about? And how could the principles we talked about today, scarcity, keeping it simple, telling your story, branding that quirk, how might they apply? Could there be an unexpected path there to monetizing something? Maybe creativity plus a willingness to look at the edges of business. Maybe that's where new opportunities are hiding.